Hello children, coal and petroleum, class 8, subject science, and this is the chapter 5. So coal and petroleum. So we will be studying about all these things in today's class. Okay. So the natural resources are divided into inexhaustible natural resource and exhaustible natural resource. And in inexhaustible natural resource, the alternative sources of energy, that is windmills and solar energy. And under exhaustible natural resource, you have coal, petroleum and natural gas. So these three are the exhaustible natural resources. So in coal, we will be studying about the history of coal, formation of coal, coal and its varieties and the products of coal. And under petroleum, we will be studying about the petroleum and its sources. Okay. So we have studied about the natural resource and exhaustible and inexhaustible resources in natural resources unit. Right? So what do we mean by exhaustible resource or exhaustible natural resource? So these resources occur in nature. Why it is called occur in nature? Because they are natural resource. So natural resources are nothing but the resource which occur in nature. So exhaustible natural resource is one of the natural resource. Therefore, these resources occur in nature and are limited in quantity. So whichever resources are limited in quantity and they occur in nature are said to be exhaustible resources. So they can be exhausted by human activities and it is formed from the dead remains of living organisms. Hence it is called as fossils and so known as fossil fuels. Okay. So whenever the humans keep using it more, what happens? It gets exhausted. And how it is formed? So exhaustible resources are formed from the dead remains of living organisms. So hence it is called as fossil fuels. Okay. And the examples are minerals, forest, coal, petroleum and natural gas. Okay. So next comes the inexhaustible resources. So these resources are present in unlimited quantity in nature and are not likely to be exhausted by human activities, which means how much ever you use these resources, it will not get emptied. Okay, you can use it unlimitedly. Okay, and it is also present in nature. Therefore, it is called as inexhaustible natural resource. So examples are sunlight, air, etc. Okay, so it is a duty of everyone to use the exhaustible resources judiciously, which means you have to use exhaustible resources in a limited way. Okay. So first let's talk about coal. So coal, introduction. So coal is a fossil fuel. It has been used from time immemorial, which means from so many years we have been using coal. Okay, the high temperature and high pressure inside the earth slowly converted the buried vegetation into coal. So what do you understand by this? How the coal is being formed is the question. So for that the answer is the second point. Okay, so what happens when all the plants and trees are being cut and it is buried under the soil? What happens? Because of the high temperature and pressure inside the earth converted this buried vegetation into coal. Okay, it will not happen in 1 or 2 years. It happens over millions of years. Therefore, we have to use it in a limited way. The coal thus formed is taken out through coal mines, and coal is primarily used as a solid fuel to produce electricity and heat through combustion. So why do we use coal? So we use coal as a solid fuel to produce electricity. So in order to produce electricity, we make use of coal, and in order to get heat through combustion, we make use of coal. Okay. So since coal gets swamped by seawater, it has sulfur content. If sulfur content is less, it is known as sweet coal. Okay. Whenever a coal has a less sulfur content, then it is said to be a sweet coal. So we have 3 coal products. Okay, it is called as coke, coal tar and coal gas. So what do we understand by coke? So coke is a solid carbonaceous residue derived from low ash bituminous coal. So you know the different types of coal, right children? You know anthracite, lignite, peat and bituminous coal, right? So this is derived from bituminous coal. The coke is derived from bituminous coal, and coke is used as a fuel and as reducing agent in smelting iron ore in a blast furnace. So whenever they make use of this iron ore, whenever they use In a blast furnace, they make use of this coke as a reducing agent. Okay, and all these are black in color. Okay, as soon as you remember the coal or the products of coal, you must remember the first point as it is black in color. Okay, and next product is coal tar. So coal tar is a black thick liquid, a mixture of about 200 substances. Okay, it is not a mixture of one or two substances, it is a mixture of 200 different substances. And where it is used, these coal tars are used in many places like synthetic dyes, drugs, explosives. Dyes in the sense like hair dye, you have many dyes, coloring agent is a dye. And you have drugs, few medicines, explosives, perfumes, plastics, paints, photographic materials, roofing materials, and naphthalene balls. Naphthalene ball is the white color thing that you keep in your almari in order to get rid of the cockroaches and all, right? So in order to prepare all these things, in order to manufacture all these things, so what happens? We make use of a coal tar. And the third product in coal is coal gas. So it is obtained during the processing of coal to get coke. So whenever you make coal to coke, okay, so from coal, when you make it to coke, so during that, whichever the gas that is formed is said to be coal gas. So it was earlier used for lighting, but now mostly for heating homes in cold seasons. So during cold season, in order to heat the home in polar regions, they make use of this coal gas. Next is the graphite and its various uses. So graphite is another form of carbon, is used in manufacturing of carbon electrodes needed in dry cell batteries. So whichever the batteries you use, so in that what happens, in order to make an electrode, they make use of graphite. And also, do you know the pencil that you use has a graphite? So graphite crucibles are used for melting aluminium, brass and other non-ferrous metals. So in order to melt all these things, what happens? We make use of graphite. And in an atomic reactor, bricks of graphite are used as moderators. And graphite in amorphous form is used in the manufacture of lead used in pencils. Okay, so whichever the lead that is present in the pencil is made up of graphite. And you know that the graphite conducts electricity. Yes, we have done one experiment. Do you all remember during the exhibition, science exhibition time? Yes. So though all the non-metals are insulators, graphite is the only non-metal which could conduct electricity and so used extensively as electrodes. Okay, so even though the graphite is a non-metal, it conducts electricity. So this is the exceptional case of non-metal. Next is the petroleum. So we have studied about the coal, next is the petroleum, and next comes the natural gas. Okay, so petroleum and natural gas are fossil fuels. Okay, so coal is also a fossil fuel, petroleum and natural gas are also fossil fuels. Therefore, we can tell together as coal, petroleum and natural gas are fossil fuels. Okay, so fossils are the preserved remains or traces of animals, plants and other organisms compressed by the enormous pressure exerted by the weight of the earth resting on them for over millions of years. Even this also is being formed like that only, which means like animals, plants and all, what happens when it gets buried inside the soil. So because of the pressure of the earth, what happens over millions of years it takes in order to form petroleum and natural gas. So fuels extracted from such fossil sources are known as fossil fuels. So whichever the fuels that we get from the fossil fuels are fossil sources are said to be fossil fuels. Like crude oil, coal, natural gas are collectively called as fossil fuels because all these things we get from a fossil source. And fossil fuels are exhaustible resources. Why they are called exhaustible resource? Because it takes millions of years in order to form that. Yes or no? So if a fossil fuel gets over in another 20 years, then you cannot make that fossil fuel to form. Why? Because it takes million years in order to form. Therefore, you have to use all the exhaustible resources in a limit way. Next is the petroleum refining. So this is how the refining of petroleum is being done. So the crude oil is first heated. Okay. So after that, whenever the temperature is less than 40 degree, so the LPG is formed. So 40 to 160 degree temperature, petrol is being formed, and 150 to 250 degrees kerosene is formed, 250 to 350 is diesel, and greater than 350 degrees bitumen. So all these things are formed at different layers. Okay, so whenever this much temperature is being set, so LPG is formed, so they take out LPG from that total crude oil. Okay, it will not be as petrol, kerosene or diesel separately. No, everything will be mixed as a crude oil. Whenever you heat that to certain temperatures, what happens? So you can see the temperature here. So whenever it is less than 40 degree, LPG is formed. So LPG is being taken out. So 40 to 160 degree, petrol is taken out, like that. It depends on the different boiling points. Okay, so this is how the refining of petroleum is done. So petroleum products and uses. So petroleum fractions, that is natural gas, petrol, diesel, etc. are used as fuel. You all know that, right? So petrol, diesel and all for vehicles, you use it as a fuel. So this is one of the uses, and kerosene is used in generating household energy. So you use kerosene for a stove. Yes, and LPG. LPG is what? Liquefied petroleum gas. You use it for homes and industries. In homes, you use it for cooking purpose, right? And petrol, aviation petrol, diesel as fuel for automotive jets. So for the jets, aeroplanes and all, we make use of petrol and diesel. And white petroleum jelly is widely used in skincare products. Like you have heard of Vaseline and all. Yes. So there we make use of white petroleum jelly. Okay. It has a vast application in skincare products. And CNG, compressed natural gas, can be used directly for burning in homes and factories where it can be supplied through pipes. So you know that CNG is a gas, so it is easy to transport it through pipes. Okay, and CNG is used as a fuel for transport vehicles because it is less polluting. So when compared to all other fuel, what happens? CNG is used more because it is less polluting and its calorific value is very high. And bitumen is the one more product of petroleum, and it is used for road surfacing as a tar. Okay, so it is used for road surfacing, lubricating oil, wax, paraffin and Vaseline. So these are the questions that you have to answer. So fossil fuels are dash, dash and dash. Name the petroleum product used for surfacing of roads. What are exhaustible natural resources? And the fourth question is, CNG is more polluting fuel than petrol. True or false? If true, okay. If it is false, then why false? And LPG stands for. So what is the full form of LPG? That you have to write. Okay. So I hope you have understood the coal and petroleum unit. Thank you, children.